yeah, school wasn't for me, but if anybody's listening, that's okay. Excel in what you can excel in, and it can work out for you. That doesn't mean you could just be a bum and not try things, because I understood what I had to do because I wasn't good at that. This is the Uncensored podcast with Robert Peppo.
Do you think people will vote for me?
Let's get it. This is the Uncensored podcast number 28. Today, I have Melissa next to me. I appreciate her for being here because she's going to do something a little different than I've done in the past. We're going to do a question and answer. So I wanted to set up people to kind of know a little bit more about me, because I like to put out a lot of shit and I tie in a lot of the things that I'm doing, but a lot of people don't know the back end of why I am the way that I am, how I do things, and the mindset and the things that set up me to get there. So today, Melissa, thank you so much for being here, making the time. I know you're busy, you're a mom, you have your own small business. So we're both got a lot of shit going on, and that's why I got to do it. Sunday morning, 7 a.m.
Yep.
Motherfuckers, that's the whatever it takes type of shit. We said, how are we going to do this? You texted me like 2 days ago saying, hey, bro, we're going to get this done, right? Because we've been setting up, talking about guests and doing hosting and shit, and having you jump on and try and do something cool. And I slacked a little bit, but we had other stuff going on. We've been talking about the guests and setting up other podcasts. And she slid in the DMs like, yo, bro, keeping me on my shit, saying, let's do it. So I said, fuck it, let's do it. And here we are.
7 a.m.
Let's get it. All right, y'all. This podcast is sponsored by Peppo Subs. As always, my restaurant. Please check that out. And one thing I ask of you guys, if you like any of this content, if you like this one today, please share it with somebody. Just one person. That helps tremendously. So again, I appreciate all you guys listening, tuning in every time. So I hope you like this one. It's going to give a little insight into me. And hopefully having another cool moderator here is going to make it a little bit better dynamic content than just me staring at the fucking camera the whole time. All right.
For sure.
Yeah, let's get into it. Melissa, again, thank you. Let's fucking do it.
All right. So, okay, tell me first of all, who was Rob growing up and what was Rob's childhood like?
All right, cool. Yeah, so I had a great childhood. I was always the motherfucker that was outside playing and shit. Just like today, I'm not a big video game person, even though that's like super prevalent and a lot of people game and all that. I just never was that, even growing up. We didn't have consoles and shit like they have now, so I was lucky for that and got to be outside a lot. And I was always athletic and in sports, and I think that I had like some extreme like ADHD or some shit, because I couldn't just sit around, right? So I had to be outside doing things. So that was a lot of my childhood. So that kind of got me into athletics and shit like that. But I had great parents. They supported everything I did. And so just growing up was very normal. New Lenox, just hanging out with my friends outside, getting dirty, playing in the fucking dirt and all that shit. So that was kind of my childhood. Nothing too spectacular, out of the ordinary, something like that. So yeah.
That's good. That's good. So you mentioned sports. So for high school, how was schoolwork for you? And then tell me about sports in high school.
Schoolwork. Well, there you go. That's a great question that I'm not prepared for, but I wasn't very good in school. And I don't know if that's because I just like came to sports naturally. So I just focused on that, because like in my life today, I focus on what I'm good at and I just stick with that. And so for school, I didn't get good grades ever, not in grade school or high school. And it wasn't that I feel like I wasn't able to, I didn't care about it much, because the things that I was learning didn't resonate with me. Like math, for instance, I wasn't good at it because I didn't really care. I didn't understand how it was going to apply to my sports or the things that I like to do. So I feel like I just didn't focus on it. I feel like if I did, I'd probably be okay at it. It just didn't make sense for me at the time. Like, why am I learning this stuff? How am I going to use this? It's kind of like what I am like today. If I'm not good at it, like mechanics or something, I just don't do it. I leave that to the people that are good at that. And so like high school was awesome. I'm pretty sure I graduated just because I was good at football. Shout out to my teachers. I really appreciate that. But school wasn't for me. And I'm going to tie that in a little later, hopefully, about my mindset on that and school. Because I think it's for people for sure. I just don't think it was for me. And I don't know why, other than like ADHD. I couldn't sit still in class. Like I wanted to be outside all the time. I would just fucking fidget with shit and be like, yo, when is class done? But I did have some good teachers along the way that kind of understood that and worked with me because I just didn't excel in it. But I excelled in a lot of other things, and it takes a special person to kind of see that instead of just like, hey, well, you're not good at it, you're dumb or something like that. And at some point early on, I thought, damn, why am I not good at school? I did think that. I thought, why can other people get A's and B's and I'm getting D's and F's and shit and struggling to do good? And that didn't change for me until later on when I realized I don't have to be good at things like everybody else is. I can be fucking good at what I'm good at, and it doesn't matter. But growing up, that was hard. In high school, because, you want to fit in, you want to be cool. And if somebody thinks you're dumb, you can get picked on and shit for that. Like, luckily, I didn't. But in my head, I probably tried to cover it up. And luckily, I was good at sports and shit. So that helped bridge that gap.
Yes.
But I was self-conscious about that shit. It was natural, I think, if you're not good at something that you have to do, right? Like, you're forced to go to school for, like, all the growing up and then high school. And I wasn't good at it, but I had to do it. And it was like, wasn't like a torment to go to school, but I was literally nervous almost all the time going to school, knowing, damn, I got class. I didn't do my homework. I didn't do this. Am I going to get in trouble for it? What's going to happen? So, it was a very interesting time for me, very different than I am now, but it took me a long time to be okay with not being okay with things. So
that makes sense. So if we didn't do so well in high school, did we go to college?
Well, that's why I give kudos to my teachers. Whoever passed me, if you're watching this, and I hope that someday you do watch this, I did go to college, and I got a full ride scholarship to college for football, which was awesome. And I'm thankful for that, to go to Providence and have a great school. But I'm thankful for the teachers that knew I didn't do so good, but knew I had a talent that shouldn't be wasted and helped me pass, whether that was extra credit or staying after or study hall. And even one of my friends I give kudos to, who helped me know that I cannot fail to be like ineligible to play.
Yeah.
That got me into college, I would say. But that presented a whole nother problem. If getting a full-ride scholarship, cool, I'm good at football, I'll do that. But fuck, I still got to go to class.
Yep.
And you better pass your class in order to still play football and keep your scholarship.
Yes.
And that was a huge dynamic in my head about how the fuck am I going to balance that? And like, I got through with that in high school, and we won a state championship. That was cool. But I'm a freshman at fucking college. They don't know me yet. What am I going to do? And I didn't continue on with my scholarship. And so I did try and go to Joliet Junior College to continue. But it was, again, just to play football. I tried to get re-recruited to a bigger school and things like that. But I didn't do good in school. And so this was kind of the trajectory at that time, is I wasn't doing well in school. So I knew I probably had to start thinking about what I'm going to do, what other options are there. Because if I wasn't going to play professional football and I wasn't passing my classes, maybe college wasn't for me. And I did start to know that. I just thought I could figure it out and get through it some way. It's like I do now, but back then I didn't know shit. And I didn't know how I was going to get through things. And I couldn't control it. Like in my business now, I can control it.
Right.
In school, the teachers control it,
Absolutely.
the deans, the curriculum. I had no control over that. And so, school wasn't for me. But if anybody's listening, that's okay. Excel in what you can excel in, and it can work out for you. That doesn't mean you could just be a bum and not try things, because I understood what I had to do because I wasn't good at that. And that may have happened a little later for me. I would have liked to learn that earlier and not learn that the hard way. But we go through these things, and that is what it is. I think all young people struggle with some things. So, yeah, I'm no different from me.
So was that when you decided you wanted to go into restauranting, or when did things change for you where you knew what you wanted?
Yeah, no, there was a transition time in there, for sure. So the time I stopped playing football, and even right post-college, post St. Xavier and then Joliet Junior College, I tried out for the Chicago Rush, which is an arena football team, which is like a semi-pro team.
Yeah.
And I did a summer league with them, but I didn't get a contract to play. It was at that point where I was like, all right, cool. What the fuck am I going to do? But at that same point, when I could have considered another thing, I probably could have got picked up on some college team somewhere and tried again. I realized, dude, it's not going to happen. I wasn't committed, and I knew school wasn't for me, so I wasn't even going to walk that route anymore. But at the same time, my father had cancer, and he had to have a heart surgery before he can handle the cancer treatment. Okay. So I was like, oh shit, this is a big fucking deal, but this might be like telling me something here. So I committed a little to helping the family at that point because I had to go to Peppo's because my dad wasn't there and he was out for about 1 year.
Oh, wow.
And I was almost only 20 years old or something. 20, maybe tipping on 21, but I think more about 20 years old. And I got thrown in the business. And so like my uncle kind of stepped up, who was in college as well at that time at University of Chicago Business School, which was an amazing school. He became part of the company then, and then I jumped in because I was at a working age and I stopped playing football. And I was never a lazy person. Like my ADHD or whatever made me, I always want to do something. So I'm always got enough energy. I'm always doing stuff. And so I was like, cool, I'll work, whatever. I'll make some extra money. It's cool. And I'll help the family. My dad's going through a major thing. And at that point, we thought his cancer was really bad, and it was. And thank God the surgery and radiation helped, and he cured him, and he's still cancer-free today, still with us. But it was a big deal, and a big deal even more because he couldn't even have his treatment till he got through heart surgery because his heart wasn't strong enough to handle that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So imagine that getting thrown on you after you fucked up and failed out of college. I didn't fail out of college, but I didn't continue on. I didn't graduate, and I didn't do well. I gave up a full-ride scholarship. Okay, so you get free college. And I gave it up. So imagine my parents were like, yo, what the fuck?
Little unsure there.
It was more than a little unsure. And kudos to my parents because although I gave them, maybe I gave my dad the heart problems or something, but kudos to them because although they were upset at that time because that's, a big thing that you let go, it kind of worked out because I was available then to help at the family business when my dad needed it the most. And so, yeah, he was out for about a year after that. And I was there with my uncle, who is right now currently an incredibly successful businessman. He lives in Japan. And just being kind of around him and his mindset at that point early on was a difference maker for me in the way that he approached things. Because he went back to college at a little bit later time in life for himself. And I was in close proximity to that. And I still was a little young to kind of understand why it was important, what he was doing and what our business was doing. And so it didn't happen quite yet. I had to go through that stage of partying and not knowing what I wanted to do. I was young. I was working full time, so I was making a little more money. And I thought, oh, this is kind of cool. I like making money. This is decent. But I didn't take it fully serious then. And so I'm rambling on, but the story is pretty important to my upbringing and how I even got, involved in Peppo's in post-college. There was a time when my dad came back and he recovered, which was amazing. And my uncle left because, my dad was back and he had graduated college and started to go on to his business career, which he's incredibly successful at now. And that's kind of the time that I was like, okay, it's a couple years later now. I'm like 24-ish. And one day my dad left our books. He's doing the numbers and shit.
Yeah.
And whatever. He left it out on the kitchen table. And I was involved in the business and he left it out. And he circled the year-end total or something. And I was like, oh shit. We make pretty good money, huh? But then I said, well, where the fuck is that money? I said, if we make that much, why aren't we rich? I don't get it. and so that was my first eye-opening experience. Damn, we got a pretty good business here, but I don't feel rich. I don't feel like we have money. I feel like we're very we had a good upbringing and all that, but I feel like
just average, kind of
very average, if not to, kind of struggling along, kind of like everybody does, paying bills and, having debt and stuff like that. And I'm just I don't understand. We've been open a long time. Do we do this every year? We make that much money every year?
Right.
And he's like, yeah, but we have bills to pay. We have employees to pay.
Yes.
We have vendors to pay. I was like, all right, bet. But Dad, if we could make that money 1 year and figure out just how to get a little bit more back and, on the profit end of things, we could probably do really good. So sales part is taken care of. We just got to figure out all the other shit. And so literally from that time, I was like, oh my God, if I can figure this out, that means I can have that. That could be all of ours. And next year and the year after and the year after, we've been open for 45 fucking years.
Yeah.
This means, Dad, we made millions of dollars. He's like, well, yeah, I guess we did. I was like, yes, the fuck we did.
Guess.
Where did it go? that was my tipping point when I started to get involved in business. And it wasn't more about the money aspect of it, although it helped when you're young. It was more so I want to be like, well, Dad, let me help because I see what you've done. This is cool. I want to be part of it. And luckily he was like, okay, well, if you think you got some good ideas, well, what's up?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how that went back then. And my dad is so like laid back, kind of opposite of me.
Yeah.
And so me being,
I've met him. He's definitely your opposite.
yeah. So I get that from my mom a bit, but I think it's a good dynamic because without that kind of stronger push, you might not kind of go for that, next level thing that he needed. So he did really good at his part of business, customer service, keeping customers, quality, making people happy. But he was never like that businessman, that hardcore businessman on the back end of it. And I think that since I noticed that he wasn't that, I'm like, oh, well, let me add that piece then. I don't know much about it yet, but I'll figure it out.
Right.
If that's the only part that's missing, let's make this a good thing and I'll fucking help you. Right. I'm your son. Like it gets passed on to me and my sister. But she's not part of it. She's not around. She's in Seattle. She's great. We have a great relationship and the whole family's good, but she's just not part of it. She has her own great life. She does very well with the American Cancer Society as a director out there on the West Coast. So she wasn't going to be part of it. So I was like, yo, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I should do something here.
So that's when you took it over or how did that come about?
That was more so just when I got more serious.
Yeah.
I wasn't definitely not ready to take over then. But if it got more serious, and I realized I can contribute in some way.
Yeah.
And that eventually, if I contribute good enough, it'll come back to me.
For sure.
But it didn't happen naturally. It didn't happen easily. There was a lot of bumps in the road because the first time I learned anything, I thought I knew everything.
Of course.
And so I'm like, well, this is the answer, Dad. This is what we got to fucking do.
Not that simple.
It is not that simple at all. And he's like, slow it down, kid. I've been here for 40 fucking years. Well, at that time it was like 30 years or 35 years, whatever. So, but I'm rogue like that.
Yeah.
I'm strong. I push it. I have high energy and I thought that was the right way to do it. So
awesome.
No, there's a huge learning curve in there. So yeah.
So most of us know you were in the Army, but why did you choose to get into that when you were already working your own business?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. And so that question skips kind of a time frame that we'll hopefully circle back to. But going a little fast forward, we did really good in business. I did figure out a lot of things, and we'll kind of go back to how that happens, hopefully maybe with some later questions. Mm-hmm. I guess I should say this right now. So she posed a lot of good questions to me that she came up with on her own. And then I just wanted to set a foundation with some. So some of her later questions that I glanced over a few. I didn't really try and like think of my good answers. I want it to be authentic, are kind of setting this up. So the Army came way later after we did really good and after a lot of struggle. But to be quite honest, when I decided to join the Army, this is how it went down. We had made a shitload of money and I was super unfulfilled. Okay. Because for like the whole last 10 years, I was like, we're going to be fucking millionaires. This is what we're going to do. We're going to expand. We're going to do it. And then we did it. And I was like, that's it. What the fuck? I thought I would feel different. I thought all this would change and all that. And it didn't. And so then when we closed the Tinley store, mm-hmm. after we made a shitload of money and just decided as a business decision, it wasn't going to be good.
Yeah.
And we learned a lot through that experience. I decided I need something else. I miss athletics. I miss being part of a team. In order to take myself to the next level, I need to re-earn getting to the next level. And I said, what had I given up early in my life that I could have done? And I gave up my scholarship, sports, teams, mm-hmm. Being part of something, a winning atmosphere. What, when I get older, will I not be able to do again? Okay, what has in life has time frames, and can I still do it? And the reason I thought that is because you're not young forever, and you can't do everything, and I never want to regret shit. And so at that time when I wasn't good at college and wasn't good at, in school, mm-hmm. I thought, oh, maybe the military is for me. Back then I thought about the Marines and shit, but I did get a full ride scholarship, so I did that. And then after I gave that up, there was a part of me that was like, yo, I can go enlist now.
Yeah.
But then that's when my dad got sick.
So
I didn't, right? But I always thought, oh, I'm young. You think you're young forever. And time flies.
Yes, it does.
And so at that time, I was realizing I was unfulfilled. I gave up things I wanted to do. There's some things I won't be able to do when I get older, and I don't want to look back and regret. And so I said, okay, fuck it. I want to join the Army. Or actually, I said, I want to be a fucking Navy SEAL.
Oh,
because you
wow.
watch the movies and you're like, oh, those are the cool guys, right?
Yes.
And how I am in my life, I want to do everything at a high level. I grew up on a lot of teams that did very good in winning. So I was like part of like, what is the best? Mm-hmm. That's what I want to be part of. And not knowing anything, of course, I said, I want to be a Navy SEAL. So I walked my ass into the Navy recruiting office and I tell him, the guy looks at me, he's like, okay, I'm sure you do. Right.
And everyone else.
But me, I'm like, I can fucking do this. You know, just being athletic and knowing my capabilities, I can fucking do it. So I started taking dive lessons from a former Marine who was a Navy medic, who was a Marine, who had 2 deployments under his belt. Because I was serious with the shit.
Yeah.
So when I go all in, I go all in.
For sure.
It just is what it is. It's what the fuck I do. And because I wasn't good at school, I hired a tutor to train me in the test that the Army gives, the ASVAB test. I hired a tutor.
Gotcha.
Because you can't be Navy SEAL unless you get really high scores.
Oh.
Okay. So I'm like, okay, bet. What the fuck I got to do? I'm going to show this recruiter who the fuck I am. Right. And so we go through that process. I start diving with this kid and we develop a good relationship. Really good dude. And so he trains me some diving. So I'm like, damn, I think maybe I can do this. You know, I go to the tutoring. I do it. So I go back to the Navy guy. I said, guess the fuck I've been doing. All right. Sign me up. He's like, okay, I'll do it. I see you're actually serious. I'm like, yep. Okay, so we go through some paperwork, really initial paperwork. Do you have any injuries? Do you have anything that can hold you back? And he's like, you can't be a Navy SEAL. I said, well, what the fuck? He's like, well, for 1 year age, you would have to get a waiver. I'm like, bet, who do I send it to? He's like, you got to send it down to Coronado, California. That's where the Navy SEALs are based. So I did that. They're like, look, we're not open to age waivers right now. You can't do it. He's like, do you have any injuries? I was like, yes. He's like, we're not giving medical waivers for Navy SEAls either. So I'm like, well, fuck you guys then. And so that's just how that happened. That wasn't able to be there. Maybe I wouldn't have made it. Whatever. Who knows? I think that I would have. But Navy SEAls are the best of the best, and it's incredibly difficult to do. So shout out to them. So I went to the Army office like, yo, I want to be Special Forces. I want to be Green Beret. You know, I just went down the fucking line.
Come on, dude.
And they're like, you're too old. Because I was 31 when I started. And the cutoffs for like all the special operations groups are like 29, 30.
Okay.
And so I knew I wanted to do something at a high level. So I'm like, what the fuck? Man, but I knew you can enlist up until 35. So I knew I can still get in.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get to the elite groups directly in. There's still ways in. Yes. I could still go right now if I wanted to. We're not going to talk about how I tried to do that while I was in it, and not many people know that part of it, but I did. And so I went to the Army office, and that's when I heard about the National Guard. So the Army has a component of the National Guard is, part-time, which is not part-time at all if you're actually in it. It's a full-time thing. A little different than the reserves because National Guard has combat units, which I'm in. Because I wanted to be in fucking cool shit, right? So for me, I went to the Army guy, went to the National Guard, found the best recruiter in the fucking world, First Sergeant Johnson. He's one of my best friends now. And I owe most of my career to him because I should not have gotten in. And so I should have, of course. I'm very good at it, I think, and I've had a great time. But it's very difficult for me because I was older.
Yes.
All right. I had 3 surgeries, so I needed a medical waiver to get in. I need doctor's approvals to get in. And I had arrests on my record, and I had an arrest waiver to get in.
Oh.
Okay. And although obviously it wasn't a felony or nothing like that, you still have to be a pretty good upstanding citizen in order to get in, and everything has to be right. Well, like none of my shit was right. So I lived a long life before.
Right.
Most people go in with are like 18 and shit. You didn't got nothing going on.
Right.
You can just get in there. But I pushed it hard because I knew I needed something else in my life. And I wanted to be part of a big group, a great organization to teach me more things, to learn how these big operations work because I wanted to grow my business. And I wanted to be part of a winning team, which the U.S. Army is like the best army in the world. I wanted to be part of this shit. And it was the best decision I've ever fucking made. And I made that, to not only be part of that, but as a financial decision as well. So as you probably know, as a small business owner, insurance is pretty important.
Yes.
Well, when you make a little bit of money, you don't qualify for good low-cost health care. And so it's real fucking expensive.
Absolutely.
So I was like, look, I get to do something I love to do. I get to do it with some badass motherfuckers. And I get low cost or free health insurance. This is fucking great. Retirement if I stay in. Life insurance if something happens. This is great.
Yeah.
I get paid to do some fun shit.
Many benefits.
Sign me up. Sign me up. And so I was aware enough then that I needed to do something else in my life because I was unfulfilled that would not only give me something I like to do and just better me overall.
Yeah.
And I went in real late. I went to basic training on my 33rd birthday. I arrived in fucking Fort Benning, Georgia on my 33rd birthday. So it's never too fucking late. Commit to some shit and you can fucking do it. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Very interesting time for me.
What does the future look like for you, and why do you feel that way?
Yeah, so I have big plans. I always have.
Always.
Okay.
You're never not doing something.
Yeah, and again, that's just, I was blessed to have like a lot of fucking energy for some reason out of nowhere. And again, ADHD or not, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a blessing actually, because it keeps me just constantly fucking going and I don't run out of things to do. It's a blessing and a curse. But the future for me, for sure, is I want to grow the company, as a lot of people know. I want to grow Peppo's and franchise, and that's going to happen at the end of this year. I want to continue with these podcasts because I think having cool, dope conversations with people not only is cool for other people to listen to learn things, but it creates connections. So,
for sure.
Excuse me. It creates connections that can lead to other things in life. Okay. And so like just what I've learned about the podcast game, it adds to so many other things in your life. And because I want so many other things, I think it's a great segue into that, meeting people and doing some shit. And I'd love to be like a mentor, life coach, business consultant.
For sure.
Type of thing.
You'd be great at it.
I appreciate that. I hope I can convey that through these podcasts, that I have some value to add to somebody somewhere.
Oh, for sure.
Because it really would have helped me coming up. So, yeah.
What have you learned about yourself through being a business owner?
To be patient, and I am not a patient motherfucker ever.
I am not either.
I am
struggle.
Yeah. I am aggressively patient. Okay. If that's a thing, that's what I am. So I've learned to control that because you can't control everything, but you can control what you can control. And that means you have to be patient with a few of the other things. And although we all want things now, it just doesn't happen like that. I still think that now, even though I can make things happen now at a better, faster level than ever before, it still doesn't just happen. And becoming patient, understanding people is probably the biggest one too. When you're functioning by yourself or in an environment that you can control, it's cool. But once it gets bigger, especially in the Army, in growing the business and multiple vendors and meeting people, you got to learn people and the customers. It all matters. And you got to resonate with them. So knowing how to deal with a lot of people in different ways and being patient with people, I think is my biggest takeaway so far that will give me the best chance of success in the future. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you handle people in your life that don't want you to succeed? Because everyone has those people in their life.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a few, real fucking hard, straightforward answers I like to give to that. For one, if there are those people, I just don't be around them. That's sometimes easier said than done because sometimes that comes from friends and family.
Yes.
But in still some way, I keep that separate. Mm-hmm. I keep it to the side. I either just don't entertain those thoughts and ideas. And a lot of people won't bring that up to me in proximity to me, which is awesome.
Yes.
Because it happens or you see digs and stuff on social media or whatever. But I've run into that several times. And I think that it's one, people just don't understand other people. So if they don't understand me and the way I do things and my reasoning for doing things, they won't understand why I'm doing it. So a lot of people might look at someone who's eager to be successful and grow their business as greedy or money hungry, not knowing that I had to pay off all my parents' credit cards in order just to get us in a better position, right? Help them do that.
Right.
I had to put them first in order to get me into this position to do it myself. So they won't know that. It's not about the money or greed. It's that I saw my parents struggle and I don't want them to do that anymore.
Right.
I saw them not have an opportunity for retirement. I wanted to give them that before I can have something. They don't see that part of it. People don't understand it. So how I deal with it is I don't fucking entertain it. I don't be around it. And hopefully it just goes away or they change their mind, right? Maybe I haven't done a good job at articulating why I'm the way that I am. And if they can't get it, they can get the fuck out of here.
For sure. For sure. We don't need that kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
How do you walk in your success and enjoy it?
Well, I'm still trying to get to the success part. But
Come on now.
I think that it's a balance. Everything's a balance, and I think you enjoy the way that you need to enjoy things. So like for me, enjoying it is riding my Harley, right? So the enjoyment could be whatever you want out of it. How you enjoy it is you work super hard, so you better fucking enjoy something. Why are you doing it then?
Right.
And I think some people have their own ideas for it. And so like the enjoyment for me is having the freedom to go on a dope vacation whenever we want to. The freedom for me is being able to jump on my Harley whenever I want to. So I can enjoy it because I actually like the work. And I'm eager to get to my best version. And so like the success to me is never going to end, but I want to enjoy it along the way. Cause for sometimes I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
All I did was fucking work. Mm-hmm. I think for me, my classic story I tell people close to me is I worked for 3 years straight, 0 days off every single day. And usually it was about from like, I don't know, 6, 7 a.m. till 11 or 12 p.m. at night.
That's a long day.
And I didn't enjoy any of it.
No.
I knew why I did it, but I would say we, because I kind of forced Alex into it. But it was working, right? Business was working and we were going hard and we kind of had to do that. And we had to do it then, so we don't have to do it now.
Right.
But I wasn't enjoying any of it then. And that's what I mean with like, when you make more money than you ever have and you realize we didn't enjoy that, what the fuck is the point?
Right.
And so when you switch that perspective into like built-in enjoyment, built-in vacations, built-in time off, what are we not going to sacrifice? What are we doing this for? I often say nowadays, own the business, don't let the business own you. And for a long time, I had that flip-flopped.
Yeah.
The business owned us.
Right.
It ran us. And in some elements, it still does today. I won't deny that because we're not where I want to get us yet. But own the business. Don't let the business own you. Then you can start to enjoy some shit.
I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
We try anyway. It's a work in progress.
For sure. Okay, so what was your biggest fear when you were growing up?
Not being successful. And I mean it in this way. My biggest fear growing up was that what if I just become a nobody? And I don't know why, but at like age 13, I realized I'm going to be rich and famous. And I didn't know why. I didn't know why. And at that time, I think I thought it was going to be because of football. Mm-hmm. But my biggest fear was either not becoming wealthy to help my parents, literally, because they did so much for me and I saw them. They didn't struggle necessarily, but I think they kept it hidden.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
That's good.
And kudos to them because we had a great life. We went to good schools, but they sacrificed a fucking lot to us. And my biggest fear was not being able to pay that back and not being good myself and having to be taken care of by them forever kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know why the fuck I thought that because I was never an adult. So I was thinking like, I don't know what happens at that stage.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to live a dope life. And, I always saw like athletes and rappers and shit doing cool shit. And I'm like, well, that only happens with a lot of money. That seems
I want to do that.
Yeah, I want to do that, but I don't have money to do any of this shit.
Right.
Why don't we do this? We don't have money to do any of this shit. I don't understand. And so my biggest fear was just not being as good as I could be. And I kind of carry that today still and through football. It's why I got good at football because I was training and I was good. I wanted to be better. So I did good in the Army. I want to succeed. And that's why I do now because I want to succeed. I just don't want to go back to ever struggling. Or seeing anybody else struggle, anybody around me. So if I can put anybody on, that's what I'll do. And that's what keeps me going. So
was there a teacher or role model in your life though, that, changed your outlook on things from a young age? I know you had mentioned previously you had some good teachers and stuff, when you were struggling through school, but was there one person that really made a huge difference?
Yeah, I think there was like 2 or 3.
Okay.
So let's start from the first one. Sure. I had a speech teacher. Speech was like the only elective in high school that I did good at. Okay. But I don't know if I don't feel like I'm naturally good at public speaking. I think I just know what the fuck I need to do. And I'm okay with being confident in my own shit. Right. And so that's kind of what the first speech class in high school ever did for me. They're like, yo, just get up there and talk. It's cool. I'm like, that's it? Y'all going to do the same thing too? They're like, yeah.
Okay.
It's like, oh, this is cool. And it was like a chill class, right? Like,
yeah.
You can do whatever you want. You kind of sit wherever you want. I'm like, yo, this is my shit.
I need that class. Where was that class?
Exactly. But the teacher made it like that, right?
Yeah.
She could have been a dry, okay, everybody assign seats. Okay, Robert, you come up and, you got to stick with this. She's like, no, get up there, just do it.
Yeah.
Whatever's going to be, it's good, and we'll work on it afterwards. That was cool. That's the fuck I needed. That's when I'm like, oh, cool. So that's teaching, that's learning, that's cool. That was cool. And then after that, I had 2 good mentors. I mentioned my uncle a little bit, and that was maybe my first kind of one. But I had a really wealthy friend growing up. Okay, so I had 2 really good friends growing up. One was very poor and one was very wealthy. And they gave me such a good perspective on life. And both parents were awesome. Both families were cool. Both of them were my best friends, but it's a very different style of life. And so I learned a lot from both. And in fact, my friend who grew up like that is very successful today too. Shout out to Brandon. But my friend Mike, his dad, was like my first mentor. He was incredibly wealthy, gated community. And I was like, yo, how the fuck does somebody get this? How do you get to this level? And so we were hanging out one day. I just said, fuck it, I'm going to ask him.
Oh,
you
wow.
know? And Mike's like, why do you want to go talk to my dad? I'm like, bro, look, I don't have this, dude.
Right.
I don't have nothing even fucking 1/5 of this, 1/10 of this. I just want to ask him how he got there.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, bro, I'm going to come over, but I'm going to talk to your dad first so you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. And so I'm like, hey, Wayne, how did you do this? Like, what the fuck happened that you got to this point? And he told me. And I was like, so all I got to do is work hard and be dedicated to what I do and make good decisions, and this will happen. He's like, yeah, I didn't do anything special. He went to college, but he worked at a company, Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad, for a long time. And he was lucky enough to be bought out by Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway.
Wow.
And that's how he got his big retirement. But he did really good until that point. But when I went there and he talked to me just like a normal person, just said, no, just do really good at what you do. And he knew we had a business. He's like, if you did Peppo's really good, you could probably do pretty good with that. People seem to like you guys. I was like, yeah, they do.
Yes, they do.
So all I got to do is work hard. And that's what set me up. Like listen, it wasn't about stocks. You don't got to invest in fucking all this crazy shit. He's like, no, you just work pretty hard, do right with your money, make some good decisions. And then over time, all those good decisions will stack up. And you just roll with it. And so I'm like, and he's like, invest in things that you know. So Peppo's, right? He's like, why don't you invest in that?
Yeah.
Don't worry about stocks and shit. Put your money in Peppo's. I'm like, so like invest in me? He's like, yeah, absolutely. I was like, okay, I could do that. And he's like, but if you want to do a few things, this is what I would do. I would keep it simple. Only do things that you know you're good at. Only do things that you know you're going to enjoy. So when you have to invest in them or make decisions, you already like what you're doing.
Yeah.
If it's a struggle or you don't know it, or you got to do a lot of research or fuck your regular, it's not going to be good for you.
Right.
He said, keep that shit simple. That was a huge, eye opener, because everyone's like, how do I get rich? How do I do these things? And he's like, dude, it's not even like that. Keep it
work
simple.
hard.
I was like, bro. And then there was a little bit more after that. And there was one other mentor I have to shout out.
For sure.
That when we first made a pretty good amount of money, I was like, dude, I'm fucking rich. And I fucking spent all my money, and then taxes came.
Oh, no.
So I was like, oh shit, I can't tell Wayne because he told me, keep it simple, bro. Don't do this shit. So I'm like, okay, well, I know one other really successful, wealthy guy. I'm just going to reach out. And I know he knows who I am, friend of the family, but I've never talked to him on this level. But I have to know because I just fucked myself.
Yeah.
So I call him up. I'm like, hey, Tim, I fucked up, dude. I need some ideas. And he knew our business. He knew we were doing good. He knew I was doing pretty good because it looked like we were doing good. Okay. I was trying to act rich before I got rich. Okay. And so I say, hey, man, I would love to sit down and just pick your brain. I'll take you out to dinner. He's like, dude, just fucking come over, man. And he's like a cool fucking dude. Got Harley. He's got the dopest office and shop I've ever seen. He's awesome. He's like, all right, sit down. What's going on? I'm like, bro, I fucked up. But I talked to him like, Tim, we made some decisions this year, and tax came and it took all my money I had. I had to pay my taxes on. He's like, welcome to business. And I was like, fuck, this is how it is. He's like, yeah, when you make money, you got to pay.
Yes.
I was like, oh shit, I thought this was all mine. So I had those 3 mentors that really kicked some knowledge to me, but I went out and I seeked them out. I didn't wait. I said, what do I got to fucking do? Who do I got to talk to? What do I got to learn in order to get in a better position? And that's what I did. And so, yeah, that was a little long-winded. But
hey, That's okay.
Like-
How did you get through a time in your life where you felt like you were never going to make it, you were never going to get through it?
Yeah. So there's been a few times like that. You know, post college, I was thinking, what am I going to do? But I was never not willing to work. Okay. I was never not willing to do what was necessary. And then there were some times I dropped the ball on that for sure and didn't do what I was supposed to do, or didn't succeed in what I was trying to do. But say the question one more time.
How did you get through a time when you felt like you never would?
Yeah. I would say early on, I just knew that I was going to be successful, so keep fucking working and it will come out. Then the second time when we closed Tinley, I didn't know what we were going to do.
Yeah.
But I never lost the confidence that I would figure it out. And so what that did for me, it kept me trying things. So I never like sulked in it like, oh, I can't say I wasn't depressed about a few things a few times, but I was quickly able to change that because I knew it wasn't going to do anything.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just luckily I have that type of brain that allows me to make that switch. Because it's not that I don't get sad or low. I think I do all the time. I'm just quick to get out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm quick to get out of it because I say, they're not fucking there for me. There's nothing fucking down there for me to let myself stay down here in those thoughts. I said, and if I do, I'm only going to stay here forever. And then what does that do for me or my family or my parents or my employees? It does nothing.
Right.
And so I quickly get myself out and I say, fuck it. It's on me. I'll figure it out. I'll do more work than necessary and I'll get through it. So, I mean, I think everybody kind of deals with some shit like that.
Yeah.
And I just deal with it in a fuck that shit kind of way. and I think I'm lucky for that because it's hard. And I think that that's not the solution for everybody because some people genuinely struggle a little bit more with some things, especially when times get hard. And times get hard for everybody. Times were hard for us several times when I would make like a risky decision and it wouldn't work out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, I just fucking wasted either all of our money. What are we going to do? We still have bills to pay. But I was always willing to fucking figure it out.
Yeah.
And so if you're willing to figure it out, whatever that hard shit is, I think it will always work out. Even if it doesn't work out how you think it will and how you want it to, you'll get past it and you'll build up little wins by just fucking trying.
Yeah.
So don't ever stop trying. Go one more day. So shout out Ed Milet. He just put out a book called Nick Barr's Go One More, but he just put out a book called One More Day or something like that. It's about just trying one more time, one more day, and hopefully that tipping point comes.
Yeah.
Very cool theory.
Do you feel like you have a different relationship with pain, whether you view that mentally or physically? Because you're a beast. Let's be honest.
I try. Yeah, I think that's probably through sports coming up that I developed. You kind of got to go through the bad part of shit to get to the good part of shit.
Yeah.
And I would say kudos to some hardcore ass coaches we had that kind of set it up like you're going to get your ass kicked, but it's going to be good for a reason. And although maybe I think I can handle things slightly more than people, and I don't know if it's like literally physically being able to do it or I control my mind to say just shut the fuck up and take it.
Yeah.
Because like getting a tattoo, like I feel like you got to earn that shit. So like it hurts, but I can take it. So it's like no big deal.
Yeah.
Where some people be like, yo, if you get your whole ribs blasted, that shit fucking sucks.
Yeah.
You know, they might only sit for an hour where I'm like, dude, let's go 6, 7, doesn't matter. Or in football, when you hit doubles, I'm like, yeah, that sucks, but fuck it. In the Army, there's plenty of times where it sucks. And you just get through it. And I do it to myself with like the 4x4x48.
I was just about to reference that. Oh my gosh.
It's the worst pain ever that I've gone through. And then I did it again.
I was going to say you did it twice.
Yeah. So it's like, for one, I always want to earn what I do. I always want to earn the ability to talk shit. I always want to earn the ability to live life the way I want to. And I feel a part of that earning is getting your fucking ass kicked. And in this stage of my life, like nobody kicks my ass anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'm the owner of the business, so no one's checking me and making me do shit. In the Army, I've been fortunate enough to have a great career there, become an NCO. And although there's people way higher ranked than me, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm in a cool position where, hey, I can, work with my team, do my squad my way. And so I have to constantly put those things on myself to get better. And since I want to get to the next level, I kind of always do that, like in my workouts or in runs, because I need constantly re-earn it every day. Because if I don't, I feel like maybe, is this not for me?
Right.
Do I not deserve the life? And I don't want anyone to ever say I don't deserve the shit that I fucking do or have, because I know in my head then I've earned it.
Right.
And that's just, yeah.
It's who you are.
Yeah.
Are you religious?
Oh, that's a great question. Actually, something like this got brought up yesterday, but I grew up in a Catholic school. My whole fucking schooling coming up.
Yeah.
And so that was Catholic, but I guess I grew up Catholic, so that was part of that. But then I kind of went more to like, openly searching type of thing when I got a little older. It's like, wow, I went to Catholic school, but there's like a lot else out there.
Yeah.
But I am not particularly religious. I'm a spiritual person. I think there's a lot of good things and a lot of religions that kind of teach you a lot of good things, a lot of good lessons. But I think being a good person overall, for me, is the right way forward. And that's not it's not a non-religious thing. I just think that's kind of a tie-in of all of them. Mm-hmm. And I've studied a lot of world religion. So I've got big into books kind of throughout that time because I didn't do good in school. Yeah. It was like my self-education is getting into books. And for about like 6 months to a year there, one of them I dedicated to learning all the world religions and understanding them. And I've read probably 20 to 25 different books on all religions and stuff, just to kind of understand. There's a lot of tie-ins. A lot of them are similar.
Yes, absolutely.
Peace, unity, loving people, loving your neighbor, all this stuff. I'm like, okay, so be a good person.
Right.
God, I'm gonna keep it simple. Just like my mentors told me, that's what I'm good at, keeping shit simple, staying in my fucking lane. I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers. I don't think anybody has all the answers.
No.
It's what resonates with you.
For sure.
Okay. And that's what's right for me in my lifestyle and my experience might be different from somebody else in all walks of life. And I'm open to that.
Yeah.
I try not to force my opinions on other people as much. And if they don't do that to me, I think it's great.
Yeah.
And you'll naturally find these things, but be a good fucking person. Keep it fucking simple.
For sure.
Yeah.
So how do you stay out of a should have mentality? Because that's a hard one for me a lot of times with the small business stuff. I'll be like, damn it, I should have done that. Like that would have been better. How do you avoid that?
Oh, I don't think you can avoid it. I think you just can't sulk in it. You can't let that kind of control you. Everyone will think of what they should have, could have, would have done.
Yeah.
In every stage of life and everything that you do. I think where I keep it simple is I know I can't do everything I want to do. So whatever we do, if it works or doesn't work, move on. It's like Tinley Park era Peppos for us. There's a lot of things I should have, could have, would have done. But guess what? I learned that then. So I shouldn't, could have, would have done it then. I can apply that now.
Right. You don't have to go through it again.
I don't have to go through it again. So just take that lesson and say, okay, cool. Check that box. I'm not going to do that again. Or yes, I'm going to do that again. That's why this next step for Peppo is going to be so successful, because we went through that shoulda, woulda, coulda. And
you made a lot of mistakes already.
Fuck yeah.
Yep.
And now it sets us up to be 10 times better. And had we not gone through that, we would not be ready for what we are now.
Yeah.
So I think the woulda, shoulda, coulda might be helpful, because who's going to have all the answers anyway?
Right.
You're never going to know everything at that time. You're never going to get it all right every time. And I think you can be totally okay with that, because nobody listening here gets it right every single time either.
That's right.
And not Jeff Bezos, not fucking anybody. So fuck that.
How does Rob's creative process work?
That is wild.
It is wild.
Listen, I feel like I'm a creative person, but it's locked in my head. I feel like I can't articulate it well. I, for one, can't fucking draw it well. I can't spell it well.
You cannot spell. No.
Okay, so I can't articulate it well, but I have it. I see it. So my creative process is stuck in my brain. Like right now, I can see all my franchises out there. Mm-hmm. Right now, I see how they're designed. I see the people in them. I see how it's functioning. I see how busy they are. I see the money that comes from it. I see all of it. I see the sale of it. In my head right now, I can see it. So same thing like the next car I'm going to get. I kind of see it in the driveway. I see it already. But how am I going to get that out on paper? Right. So all I can do is try and talk. Right. So I'm a little long-winded sometimes. But that's the only way I know how to get my ideas out. So that hopefully someone, like for a tattoo artist, I cannot draw anything that's on my body. So I just got to tell them and articulate it, and hopefully they understand what I'm saying in my creativity. But my creative process is all over the place. Ask Alex. Dude, my phone is so full of notes. All of them. Okay. So it's like a never ending process of trying to like control it.
Yeah. Get it all out before you forget it.
Yeah, because it's literally unlimited, 100 miles an hour in my brain,
I can
and I
only
just need to
imagine.
fucking control it.
You can't even sit still for 5 minutes. I
telling
can't
you.
imagine your brain.
Yeah.
How did you get in a place of always like showing up with that like ridiculous confidence you have? Because that just like explodes when you walk in a room.
Well, I appreciate that very much. That was a work in progress, I would say, but I knew I had to. All right. So I knew I had to get myself to another level because in life, like no one's going to do shit for you.
No.
And I do know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. And I'm totally okay with that. So whatever I'm doing, I feel confident in it.
Yeah.
And so that means I can be confident when I do it. And I stay in my lane. So I think it was a work in progress too, because it's a little nervous at first to be bold and try things and put yourself out there and speak on things and let yourself be judged.
Yeah.
But you're going to be judged anyway.
You're right.
Motherfuckers, even back in the day, like I would hear wild shit because I was always doing stuff and I wasn't where I'm at now. I'd be like, yo, people are just saying the dumbest shit ever. It's not even true. So I'm going to give them something to talk about.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And literally everyone's judged no matter what. Everybody's got an opinion. But here's where it's cool at that most people don't get. Even if someone judges you, says something, doesn't like it, or they do like it, like 5 seconds later, they're onto something else.
You're right.
So they really don't think about you. I think about me and I'm like, oh, everybody's seeing this. They're like, bro, they
Yes.
might have seen it and they're fucking on to the next thing.
See, that's how I am. I get stuck on that. And I think that's something I could definitely learn from you because, man, you don't stay stuck on anything.
I don't give a fuck because it's never going to affect me. These people
Yeah.
aren't around my life. Nobody's going to pay my bills. No
Right.
one's going to keep my business open besides me. No one's going to take care of my wife besides me. You know, these things are not affected by the outside like some people think that they are.
Right.
People's opinions. In fact, so many people that get like bad negative hate, it like makes like their tribe, the people who do fuck with them, like fuck with them way harder.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because even the people that get the biggest haters in the world on social media have massive followings of people that fucking love them.
Huge.
So guess what? The 3 people that don't like you on your shit, fuck them. That does not matter at all. And since I know that now,
Yeah.
and I'm confident in what I'm good at, like I know I'm good at, if someone wants to check me on what I'm good at, I'm good. Come fucking bring it.
Yeah.
Like if you want to talk about business, let's run. Let's
sure.
run it. If you want to talk about fitness, Peppo's, Army, I'll roll with the best of them. And I don't care what level they're at. Even if I'm not at their level yet, I can still fuck with them.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
So I'm confident. It's it. But because I don't try and tell somebody anything about astrophysics.
Right.
I wouldn't know
Stick
fucking
to what
shit.
you know.
If Elon Musk was sitting here right now, he tried to ask me some shit, I wouldn't fucking know.
Right.
I would banter back and forth with him, but whatever he's speaking on that he's knowledgeable, I wouldn't know.
Right.
So I stay out of it.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense. Why was it so important for you to actually be successful? Because you talk about how it was so important, but why?
because my parents did it for me. They sacrificed their whole life like early on. And I didn't know that then, but because I had to help them get into their financial position, I knew what they did. And I realized that they sacrificed so much for us, me and my sister, to have like a good upbringing, to give us everything we wanted. And I didn't know how that happened then. But when I got older and started taking over the business, I understood how it happened, which meant they sacrificed a shit ton for us and risked a lot. That I know not only one had to give that back to them, but realized I didn't want to live with debt and have to worry about all these things. What can I do? And then even, some of Alex's side of the family, taking care of kids and doing a lot of things. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Someone has to be the one that changes this to not struggle and to be the one that literally changes the family tree. Because no one in my family was rich or successful.
Right.
And although you don't have to be rich and successful, to me, you can change a family dynamic and give opportunities to people and help people and do things. And I say it for this reason too. Imagine if someone needs like long-term care in a home. They're very expensive.
They are.
What if you can't afford it?
Right.
Okay. I think about that for my own parents. I said, well, guess what? I'm going to fucking afford that shit if I have to, or I'll just do it myself.
Right.
Or what if someone gets cancer like my dad did and they need help with something? Are you able to help them? A lot of these things are based on money. It just is what it is.
Right.
If someone's car breaks down and they can't get to their job or they can't pick their child up from work, what are you going to fucking do? Who's in a position to help? Nobody. That's all I've seen. I'm going to be that motherfucker that changes that and gives the opportunity to so many motherfuckers who might not have had it. Now, whether it's my family or not, I just use my family as an example.
Right.
But people around me that have come in if you work hard and earn it and deserve it, it's hard to like have opportunities if your family or people you don't know don't come from that.
Right.
And I would like to create that. And that's why I want to go so hard in business, because I did it and I know that it can happen.
Yeah.
So
I get that.
that's part of it.
What's something you do to make sure you have people around you that have a different way of thinking than you or different beliefs?
Well, the Army is a melting pot of people. Okay, so that's one. You get thrown in with a whole bunch of different people from all over the world. Okay, and then when you get to your unit, they're from all different backgrounds, right? So that's a natural melting pot for people.
Yeah.
And again, for like employees in the store, I'm naturally around people that are different than me coming up.
Yeah.
Their backgrounds, their heritage, whatever it is, ethnicity, all that, which is cool. So then you get that perspective. And you have to, manage these people and work with them and all that, so you get a good perspective. But I also like in my personal life to be around a lot of motherfuckers that think like me, because I'm goal oriented.
Yeah.
And if there's too many distractions and things, I just think I'm off of it. So I keep my circle small with people that think the same as me. But in life, like for me, customer-based business, we have hundreds of customers a day. They're all different. So you got to deal with them. So no matter what, I'm surrounded with them, and some of them talk politics.
Yes.
And I'm just like, yo, I can't tell if you like Trump or you like Biden, bro. How do you want me to respond right now? So I just keep it neutral and stay out of it. But that's been my outlook on everything. I can have my ideas and things, but I'm cool with everybody in every situation.
Yeah.
And I think it just works out better that way, because I'm not trying to force my views on anybody. I just want to make people fucking rich and live a dope-ass life.
For sure.
If you're down with that, I don't give a fuck what you're down with. So
you're right. That's it. That's you for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying.
What's the best lesson in life that you have learned so far? You're not that old, so I can't say for your whole life.
I appreciate that. There's some people on here that think I am old. But the best lesson in life is go for what you fucking think you can do. Because in the end, when you look back when you're old, this is what I think about. So like my creative process, when I think in my brain, I look at myself when I'm old and on my deathbed. And to think about, am I going to look back and be thankful for what I've did? Am I going to regret what I've done? So I just try and see everything from a different perspective. Can you pose that question one more time again?
What's the best lesson?
Oh, yeah. The best lesson is to not regret. Okay, so I set that up to not regret anything. And so going for the things you think you can do or know you can do and risk it. Because guess what? If you fail when you're young, you got time to make it up.
Right.
If you get old and think back of what you should have done, you ain't got no time to make that up.
Right.
And listen, we're all going to get there.
You only get one shot.
All right. And sometimes life goes real fast and you don't have that chance again. So my biggest lesson is do what the fuck you think you can do now when you're young as possible and risk it, because you can make up for it. And don't regret anything. Even if it's a bad decision, don't regret it, because it happened. It happened and you can't fucking change it. What you can change is now and what you're doing and how you're going to do it going forward and the people around you.
For sure.
That will make up for it.
Yeah. Okay. Why is health and fitness so important to you? Because you never stop. Never. You are never not working out if you're not at Peppo's. Why?
Yeah. Okay. Growing up naturally athletic, that was one of them. But here's what a lot of people don't know. Only people very close to me know this. Is be about the first time putting it out. When I was getting a scholarship and I wanted to get a big scholarship for football, the coaches for the D1 schools were like, yeah, you're good, but you're just too small. And I was like, what do you fucking mean? I just won a state championship.
Yeah.
I was good as fuck. I was like the top receiver in the fucking state. Like, I think it was like the 4th rated receiver in the state. And these D1 coaches, and I was MVP at University of Illinois football camp my senior year.
Yeah.
Which means if every other motherfucker's here, why didn't I get a scholarship? Because they couldn't develop me into the next level player, because I wasn't big. I wasn't 6'2".
Yeah.
I wasn't 205 pounds. I was skinny and little in high school, but I was good as fuck.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're telling me I'm not big enough? I'm good. I score hella touchdowns and we won a state championship, and I was a huge part of that. But you don't want me on your team because I'm not big. Got it. Now I know what to do. And that just set me like, you just told me I'm not good enough because of something else. I bet I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And so that like really stuck with me. I'm like, man, that fucked up my brain. Like,
yeah,
I didn't know. And there's levels to the shit. I understand it now because these dudes in college and pros are big as fuck.
Yeah. Oh,
so I
for sure.
get what they were saying. But at that time I was like, okay, motherfucker, I got you.
Yeah.
And that's why I got so big into bodybuilding. And, at one point I was 250 pounds, fucking,
huge,
big, right?
Yeah.
Thick as fuck, but that's why. And it stuck with me as almost like a self-conscious thing. Like, am I a weak little bitch or something? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And now I do it because I realize that it gives me a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And it gives me confidence. And again, as like just me, like as a protector of like my wife and like family and shit, I want to be able to handle any situation that I can.
Yeah.
And that helps. It makes me be confident in every situation. And then it's helped me in the army and things too. So I just keep with it. But I've seen a lot of high level motherfuckers keep some sort of health and fitness. Now, you don't have to do a Goggins challenge. You don't have to do marathons, but some level of health and fitness, for some reason, every high achiever does it.
You're right.
In some way, whether it's more healthy or more workout part or both, they all do some version of it. And for me, I just have kind of stuck with that kind of hardcore shit because I think I need to earn it and I think I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it started from an early age when it resonated with me that I wasn't big enough. The fuck is that shit? So I just got to work out. All right, motherfucker, I'll show you.
I've never known you not big. So to hear that that's surprising.
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, you played receiver in high school? You were small? Like, nah. I'm like, no, I've just done this for fucking 20 years. And I've gone through different versions of this, like bodybuilding show to powerlifting when I was super fucking bulky to skinny out of basic training to all these different things. I've tried a lot of different things because I want to test myself, see how good I am at things and see if what I'm telling other people to do works. So
yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, yeah.
What else you got?
Fuck. I was long-winded on a lot of that. I think we covered a bunch of good shit because your questions were really good at opening it up. And then the early ones kind of set up some foundation. We did not get to hit everything because even right now I'm thinking, oh, I should have said this. I should have said that. But,
that just means there has to be a part 2.
Absolutely. And no matter what you do, if I speak myself on this or if I have a guest on, you don't ever hit everything.
For sure.
And so I'm totally cool with fucking rocking out this cool question and answer because it's very different than what I've done.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm super happy to do it. So fuck it. We'll wrap it up right there. Sure. Melissa, thank you so much for doing this. It was really fun.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me help.
Yep. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in, watching. Again, please, if you like the content, please share it with a friend or family. Again, that's Robert Peppo. Uncensored Podcast, number 28. Melissa, thank you very much. I'll see y'all next time.
See you later.
Out. This is the Uncensored Podcast with Robert Peppo.
Do you think people will vote for me?